spoilers belong. What's up, guys? I'll go Pencil here to do a breakdown and spoiler discussion for chapter 270 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as... I should have looked it up. I had time. I went to the... Gosh darn. But with it being the case, I don't know what the chapter title is, but I do have things to talk about, considering this chapter does have a lot. Like, this is really a wrap-up chapter. Like, honestly, this is a chapter, like, especially after recording a quick review of the spoilers and thinking about it a bit more as I was torturing every last muscle in my body, I definitely have grown more of an appreciation for it, if only for how much it shows us, even though it leaves things open-ended and starts up new plot points, which scares me. But let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? The guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, part of me, and by part of me, I mean a lot of me, and by a lot of me, I mean a lot of me, really wishes this was better. At least in terms of Samuki, man. Like, notably, and it's hard, right? And it's the complication that you always have. Like, this is an issue even I have, right? Because I'm writing a narrative, mostly action-based, shock, horror, look at what I review mostly. Obviously, my inspiration is going to come from the things I consume most of the time. But one of the biggest issues I have as I write characters is like, if you're not a combatant, and my story is heavily based around combat, how exactly do I develop you outside of down moments? Especially when you're specifically not supposed to be anywhere near the intense moments, and there's an active plot going on. So technically, Samuki is perfectly fine in her positioning in the narrative, because, like, what were we supposed to expect her to do? Fight? That was, like, the whole point, that she didn't fight. Megumi was the exception. She was a normal person. So she got rose up in her guts, and then Rosa wasn't a normal person and got. But with it being the case, I feel like I should be feeling more. And I know I should feel more for Megumi, but ultimately, just as I feel about Samuki, I do kind of feel about Megumi. Because as nice as it is to have him back, the guy's being gone for what feels like forever and a day. I know it's only been like a year. No. Gojo fell a year ago. Has it been like... I think, yeah, it's going to be a year this chapter for Gojo's falling in 236. And then Megumi gets possessed around like 216, 215, 217. So a year and some change. And ultimately, even before that, we hadn't really seen Megumi since the second Culling Games fight, which is a whole nother sort of time. So ultimately, I don't feel too much for Megumi either. And that's the thing. Notably, that's how I always try to fix it whenever I'm writing, or if ever I'm rewriting something. Like, I'm working on a couple different rewrites for the channel right now, and I'm like, looking at like, how do I change this? And one of the things I'll do is I'll make the character who is supposed to be feeling bad about the character who could not be involved in the battle plot super duper involved, super duper at least likable, and then when they feel bad, you feel bad. But I can't even feel that for Megumi. Unlike a lot of the fandom, I didn't, like... Parasoldier's not the word. I didn't end up attaching emotionally to Megumi. Because while I definitely do appreciate his character more now, it took me until, like, 266 before I actually was like, whoa, I think I finally get your point, Megumi. So ultimately, I wasn't too connected. So seeing him mourn at Samuki's grave, I mean, it hits! In the sense that I'm glad he's mourning. But at the same time, it's like, And you know why it feels so random? It's because it's Shoko. It's because it's Shoko here in specific. Because, like, he's not doing this with Yuji. He's not doing this with Nobara. Like, people he actually has a genuine connection to. It's Shoko! And once again, while the fandom has done a ton of hilarious implications of, like, Gojo and, for the short time, Suguru and Shoko actually raising Megumi, it's just not a thing. It's, like, apparently not even supported anywhere in the text, considering how Megumi describes them, and at least from what I've been told. So that's not really a thing. These characters don't have any connection at all. So it's not even like we can have Yuji feeling bad for Megumi or anything like that. So it's strange. It's strange because it feels hollow, even though I know it's not supposed to feel hollow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I should be feeling something more, but right now, I feel like Sukuna in 265, where ultimately I understand everything, all the information has been laid out to me, but I just don't feel anything. There's not a spark in my heart or anything like that. However, on the other side, I still do wonder, considering they need to burn the body, as this is just, I suppose, a ceremonial grave or anything like that, what is left of the body, right? Because Yorozu has likely been laying there for at least a month, considering Sukuna went to Sendai to get rid of her for suppressing Megumi, like, immediately after he possessed Megumi, which was a while before Gojo got unsealed, which is a while before the Jujutsu Showdown, which took place on Christmas, and we don't know how much time has passed since then. So it's kind of crazy that Yorozu's body is even, like, in any sort of state. Like, I don't know, don't leave bodies out in the open air for like 30 days at a time. But, you know, I can suspend my disbelief. It's just a thing that comes to mind specifically because JJK reminded me, oh yeah, it can get quite creepy and weird in its visuals if it really wants to. So I think there's a reason we are not seeing Yorozu's body. But ultimately, we do get to see that. But that's why Shoko's here. My brain immediately stepped on that. Shoko is here because she's the one who is supposed to tell Megumi, at least according to Gojo in 236. But admittedly, I think that, once again, these are super rough translations. After all, Suguru told me to handle it, so I've got this, right? And that's the thing, right? It's all secondary. Shoko was told to handle it by Satoru, not Suguru, obviously, because Suguru didn't know Megumi, at least presumably. But with that being the case, it's all just there. It's whatever. And ultimately, Shoko just reveals her pretty, like, I hate to say non-believer views, but she doesn't believe in an afterlife. She didn't care about any of this. It's all ceremonial, and she's doing it because Gojo himself can't be here to do it. Which I do think is sweet. I think it's nice that she still is holding up her friends well after they've passed, considering we still don't know the time period since the Shinjuku Showdown's end. But, with that being the case, I do appreciate that she hasn't really broken character here or anything like that in order to, you know, like, suddenly become emotional over something she really wouldn't care about. But, with that being the case, we see Megumi get a call, and they go to walk away, and we see Shoko go to light one up real quick. And I still admit, I do like this detail. I do like the idea that Shoko, in a way, because, I mean, I guess it really depends. What do you... I don't think it's an issue with writing a character who isn't heavily engaged with the plot. It is seemingly very important to the plot, considering they're part of a major trio. What do y'all think smoking represented in Shoko's narrative? Like, was it her ties to the past? I think so, right? Because, notably, I remember the moment in Shibuya where Yaga asked, wait, I thought you stopped smoking. And Shoko's like, I'm feeling nostalgic, which is very obviously right after Gojo gets sealed and right after the hidden inventory arc where we get a whole flashback. So I guess maybe her letting go of smoking is meant to be like a representation of letting go of the past, letting all the grief that was stored up inside her out and free into the world. And if that's the case, I do think that's nice. Rather than lighting up, she throws it away, showing her liberation from stuff like that. You could also just say, like, she's burdenless now. As Suguru Geto is no longer burdened by the curse known as Kenjaku, as Satoru Gojo is no longer burdened by the curse known as life, Shoko Ieri is now unburdened by the existence of her friends, I guess. And also the real trouble and stress that she once had as a person who was heavily worried for Gojo. If you remember, she went through like 2 packs during the Gojo versus Sukuna fight. And who knows how much she went after the fact. So her letting it go here, just as Megumi's moving on and letting go with Samuki, while it's light, and it's from 2 characters who I feel like either A, should have gotten more time, or B, no, just A, should have gotten more time. I'll take it. And it's nice, it's simple and clean. But with it being the case, I've been asking about it. Gege heard me, just as he apparently heard everybody else on the internet in 269. But 269. Inside the remnants that peeled away from Fushiguro Megumi, the absorbed Tengen-sama is firmly engaged. Now, I'm going to chalk this up once again to rough translations. We literally saw Sukuna disintegrate. Like, he fully deatomized. We literally see him evaporate into curse juice. We do not see Tengen anywhere near in that blob. So, I don't get that. Tengen being infused into Sukuna somewhat makes sense, because I'm assuming they were in like an embryonic state where they would like attach to anything. It's why, at least when Megumi or Sukuna got the rights to Tengen, I kind of called him like a baby mama, because he technically was pregnant. Like he had the baby, which was Tengen, which was going to become the merger. And you know, babies, when they're born, they latch on to and steal the nutrients from the respective parent that they're in. Or not steal, take. Are gifted. Let's put it that way. Are gifted the nutrients from the respective mother that they're inside of. And it would make sense that Tengen ultimately fused into Sukuna. But the weird thing is, since Sukuna's mutation is very specifically the external remnants, like we see him literally be peeled off as if the extra arms, the extra face, all that was legit like extra girth that was formed around Megumi's physical form, I'm kind of confused why Tengen isn't fused into Megumi. right? Because how would Tengen still be fused into Sukuna if all Sukuna disintegrated and was yanked off of Megumi, and Sukuna never threw Tengen up? I don't know. Somehow Sukuna threw up the fingers before he threw up Tengen. So I don't really get this one. It's an interesting excuse, but I'll take it. Honestly, once again, kind of how I just took the fact that Yuji got the gauntlets from Yuta, I'll take this as we've at least finally acknowledged one of the major plot points being the merger. Now, obviously the natural question is Tengen's continued sentience. Are they capable of being restored to what they were? Because we remember, unless I'm mistaken, Kenny took the whole physical body. When using her spirit manipulation, the evolved body of Tengen that was sleeping in that hole that Kenjaku found them in after the Yuki and Shoso fight, he just took that, and then apparently shrunk it down into merger mode. So can that Tengen restore itself to full Tengen mode? Would it want to restore itself? Does it want to start the merger? Once again, we don't know. There are many things that are still mysterious about Tengen, their motivations, how they feel, and their connections to Kenjaku. But ultimately, with only one chapter left, I doubt we're going to know. But this does lead to an interesting concept, at least an interesting concept in my mind. The idea that, so the barrier of Tengen Shima in Japan is, by doing that, we should be able to hold on to the heart. I measured it. Let's quickly come up with countermeasures and alternatives. Don't be in such a rush. Mitsu is still young. Now, this is admittedly a little bit confusing. Wait. Because I think maybe I just saved them out of order or something. Oh no. Maybe I'm just straight tweaking. Yeah, I think I'm just straight tweaking. But something about this does at least imply to me Star Plasma Vessel stuff again, but I just don't get how that works. Because I thought the whole point was ultimately the Star Plasma Vessel idea came and went the moment Tengen started evolving. Because the whole point of the Star Plasma Vessel was to keep Tengen human. Essentially a sacrifice every single time. In a way, kind of like what Kenjaku does with their body hopping. But I don't know. It's a little strange. I appreciate the fact that Gakuganji has changed and is like, hey, no, we're not gonna force these kids to do whatever they need to do. Let them live out their youth. We can manage it. We can figure out other ways. We can do other things. I think that's sweet. Once again, Gakuganji is definitely a character who definitely goes through an arc, but it's not all. It's a lot of it. No, actually, no. Weirdly enough, a lot of it isn't off screen. But I don't know. Once again, kind of in a similar way to Megumi, where technically Megumi does go through an arc, and I can acknowledge the writing of that arc, and say the writing of that arc is fine. I feel the same way about Gakuganji, but even to a lesser degree, where it's like, neat, you now value the youth. You got like 5 years left, buddy. If you're lucky. You ain't running this stuff for long. But with it being the case, it's nice to at least acknowledge that, and acknowledge Tengen. I wonder if it's gonna work, though. Like, that's the question. That's the real question, is this hypothetical alternative plan with Mitsu or any Star Plasma Vessel or any alternatives is actually going to work, considering Tengen is at least maybe the best barrier user in the series. I know they're saying to be the best barrier user, but after they got caught off guard by Big Kenny, I ain't too sure about that. But with it being the case, nice to have it talked about. Hopefully what are you doing in my hair? Be gone! Be gone! But with it being the case, I'll take it. Once again, I'm kind of in all weird to say, but I'm in I'll take it mode this chapter. And obviously, it's nice to see Kama with his family, with his mom, with his, I think, little sister, and I think maybe his stepfather, because I don't think he has a brother. But it's good to see Kama happy. Did he come back to Japan? I don't think so. Maybe he did, but I think he did just stay overseas. I'm not sure anyone got in contact with him, but even if he didn't, he's clearly happy. He's living the life with the people he cares about, and I think that's great. Once again, for a character who I really didn't expect much from, and if anything, I kind of expected the opposite story. I kind of expected him to rise up to be the head of the Kamo clan. Yeah, I'll take it. Smooth, buttery, clean, a teeny tiny bit juicy. But with that being the case, we see a duo. Oh no, don't worry. I've got this. Now, I'm not sure what Gakuganji means by that. That's why I was confused about it. I'm not sure what Gakuganji means by don't worry, I got this. Are they going to become the Star Plasma Vessel? Doubt it. Are they going to be the one maintaining the barriers? Possibly. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see wherever that goes in the last chapter. Because it doesn't get addressed for the rest of this chapter. So, I don't know. But with it being the case, we see an interaction that honestly I wasn't expecting. Maki throws Daido a katana. And as, oh my chest, don't work out and then record, kids. You'll be in consistent pain. Trust me. But as a fellow katana man myself, I get it, Daido. I get the passion, bro. And obviously Daido gets away more than me because he's actually from an era of katana wielders. But I do like that they were acknowledged. Ultimately, the way characters are showing up in the Shinjuku Showdown against Sukuna, I was kind of expecting for Daido to fall out the sky and just randomly attack Sukuna once or twice, and Mio to maybe get Sukuna to do some wrestling or something like that. But at least the fact that KDA acknowledges them, I appreciate it. It allows Sakurajima Colony to feel like something that actually happened. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll admit, out of all the colonies, especially due to Maki's general performance against Sukuna, where ultimately she got targeted real hard and they got knocked out of the fight, at least what it feels like relatively early, before it's forlorn, foregone, whatever conclusion, I feel like Sakurajima definitely gets brought down by that. And obviously you have characters like Akari and Kashimo who do even worse than what Maki did in terms of the Shinjuku Showdown, in terms of actual screen time and stuff like that. But still, a lot of people like that colony way more. In spite of all the Kashimo slander, Kashimo still gets glazed from that specific little chunk of the Culling Games arc. Naturally, while a lot of people are down on Megumi versus Reggie, it still is the Deuteragonist, so he gets points. Yuji versus Higuruma is one of the fan favorite fights of the series. And heck, Sendai is probably still my favorite fight in the series. Even though it's a free-for-all, even though it has a whole bunch of stuff, even though Yuta's nowhere near as strong as he is by EOS, I still greatly appreciate Sendai myself. So you understand, Sakurajima definitely fell to the wayside for a lot of people, and I don't even blame people for it. But me personally, I like Sakurajima. I like the characters it introduced. I like what it did for Maki and her character. And I like how we get to see this further continuation of a Maki who's kind. A Maki who's free. A Maki who's no longer bound by the system and is willing to engage in some of the silliest ways with the people who managed to help free her from the system she was mentally limiting herself to. And she says, the resurrection of the dead has likely lost its power, and our discussions about the measures for the flesh-bound swimmers are on the table. Having survived, it's a gamble. Kusakabe and Yuji will strip the... I don't know who Kura is. I'm assuming that's Yuta. Yuta and Yuji will strip the cursed objects from the victims. A bold plan from Akira. I'm assuming that's meant to be Atsuya Kusakabe. And amongst you were whisked away by a rice merchant. Sure, you might try to get them back, but don't think for a second you're above the rest of us. This is just a thought I'm sharing. Even after the cycle of annihilation has come to an end, Tokyo remains a land of the unlovable. I reveal the existence of blah 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 blah. Domestic curses keep piling up, and if it were me, I'd find a way to hide in that mess. Indeed. Looks like you won't have any trouble with the slow-moving ones. I don't want to deal with that nonsense. Curses, wrestling, that's just a bore. Do whatever you want, but this is the last time I'll step in to protect you. Hey, just vanish already. I like that. Ultimately, yeah, Daido and Mio took over innocent people's bodies. Well, we don't know if they're innocent, but they took over people's bodies. So did every other incarnated sorcerer ever. We didn't get to see many of them outside of the ones we already met, but we know they exist. And we know the people inside can be saved. The people who consume them can be stripped away. And ultimately, this is Maki doing them both a favor, allowing them to enjoy the rest of their incarnated lives, admittedly at the expense of the lives of the people who are lost. However, I don't mind it. Obviously, you could say, oh, Pencil, isn't that a little bit of hypocrisy? Why is she going to let everyone else do it? But for Maki and Daido, or for Daido and Mio, she's going to give them a pass. One, I think it just goes to show Maki's own humanity. Once again, she's willing to do this for people who definitely helped her out a whole lot. Without them, she would not have awakened and defeated Naoya. So I feel like she owes them that debt in terms of life debt, and I think she genuinely does care for them. Because Maki still does have emotions after Sakurajima, especially after Sakurajima. You may be able to argue not after Zen Clan Massacre, but even then she had emotions there. And post that, when we see her smiling when she first enters Sakurajima. So a Maki who's caring, a Maki who's willing to express her genuine concern for people, a Maki who's willing to go out of her way to reject the system that is currently in place to erase all the people like Daido and Mio. I love that she's willing to fight for them. Even if she says it's the last time she'll step in to protect you, she was willing to do that at all. If she was a Toji clone, as people said, he wouldn't have cared less. But Maki does care. Maki does care, and Maki appreciates what they've done for her. And they ultimately are indifferent, but are ready to go. And honestly, I love this reaction from Daido. While Daido, once again, isn't too complex or too deep of a character, one thing I will admit, I do appreciate him. He says, Maki, when it's time to erase, you better come here yourself. I'm ready to roll. He wants that run back. He wants to actually duel Maki. He ultimately says if they ever do hunt him down, let it be Maki to be the one to extinguish him, or at least beat him, and then let Yuji strip him away out of that body. And I think that's sweet. Once again, it goes to show that not only did Maki benefit from these characters and appreciate them, but they benefited from her and appreciate her. And I think that's sweet. Once again, I don't know. Especially if you'll remember, I don't think I reviewed it consistently, but I remember reviewing those chapters, and I looked at it in the moment like if they were whack, but now I do have a genuine appreciation for Mio and Daido and all they did for Maki. Beautiful characters. Or Mio, I think I said Miwa, but Mio and Daido, and all they did for Maki. Though I will admit, I'm much more a fan of Daido than I am of Mio. But then again, I actually do like Mio. Mio, he's weird. I'm going to do a retrospective on Sakura Calling. I'm going to do a retrospective on the whole series, obviously. It's ending in one chapter. But with being the case, we also do get to see that Charles is working hard. He is writing JJK. Physical magazines deserve to be cherished. Through printing, we can provide feedback on the manuscript's quality to the author. Wait, where? Absurd. Aspiring doujin artists should dive into the rich experiences of seasoned creators at least once. I totally saw your work the other day. I'm a totally clumsy artist who dreams of being a manga creator. Come on, hurry up. The Burning House won't wait for a dazzling debut of a rookie. Even M-rank artists shouldn't be kept waiting. Charles, he's happy. He's getting to live his life, live his dream, slowly but surely. But where before he was consumed by the mania and wanting to immediately do it at the cost of anything, including participating in the culling games, now he's happy. He's living life. He's enjoying it. Did he ever get his rip back? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. He probably is not going to fight if there is a part 2. I'll tell you, I'll still make a more in-depth video talking about why I'm not the biggest fan of a part 2, even though now I see the vision. I didn't want to see it before, but I'm starting to see the vision. But with it being the case, my brain wants to say, who is this? Is this a character we know, or is this a random character? It kind of looks like Kusakabe to me, but the hair is just different enough that I don't think it's Kusakabe. And the facial structure. But here we go. This is the big one that's gotten a lot of people freaking and geeking and backflipping and toe twitching and all the stuff like that. Takaba is one thing I'll admit, a lot of people are shocked that Takaba's alive. And like, I don't blame y'all, but I never really could that unlike Higuruma, I never really considered him 100% cooked. Yeah, he did lay out and then proceed to not do anything for the rest of the Jujutsu Showdown, which I will admit, a tad wacky, a tad goofy, a tad silly. But I don't know. My roster, solidly my roster was Kashimo, Gojo, Higuruma. Those were the 3 I got. The 4th, I was like, eh. But Takaba, he was never on that list. I don't know. He kind of offed himself, and I don't think the technique would allow him to do that, considering the technique makes him avoid death anyway. So talk about being alive, I'm fine with that. The main thing people are getting all up in arms about, freaking out, geeking out, twisting their toes over, is that Big Jaku revived by the greatest comedian in all of history? I don't think so. I think it's just a guy who looks like Kenjaku. A guy who looks like Geto. One, because we've seen Geto in the afterlife, or the airplane scene all the way back in 236. And 2... I don't think Kenny, here's the thing, right? Unless Kenny came back powerless somehow, like it was like a binding vow he made where ultimately he now can no longer use his curse technique, he needs to live out his last life or something like that. I don't see Kenny coming back like this. Or coming back at all, really. Once again, this series ends in one chapter. Obviously, I've seen a lot of people justify this with the idea of a part 2, saying, well, if Kenny comes back, he could actually be the main villain for part 2, and I know certain people who would like that. And it's me, I'm certain people, I love Kenny. But honestly, it's kind of why I feel like they shouldn't revive Sukuna or shouldn't revive Kenjaku. You had your chance, buddy. You had your chance. It's too late. You offed him in the way that you offed him. For Kenny, I agree it was smart. I agree it was the most logical thing, even at the cost of one of the best potential battles in the series. 100%. I agree. Spitting and cooking. But Sukuna, don't bring him back. Don't bring Kenny back. You did it. And it's done. So let it stay did and let it stay done. I just think this is a dude maybe wearing a Kenny wig. Maybe Takaba's making him wear the wig. Maybe he just happens to look like this. I don't know. I think long hair is generally pretty common. I see long hair over here all the time. I'm not sure what it is like over in Japan, but presumably it's still a thing. I think this takes place still in 2018. I don't think has a year passed. Is it 2019 in that universe? I don't know. But still, ultimately, I'm not, as much as a Kenny Coper, a Jaku Jacker as I am, I don't really see the vision on this being Kenny. And here's the thing, would I like it if it was? Nah, not really. I'll admit, I really don't. But that's me though. It's one of the biggest issues I have. I love Kingdom Hearts. If you couldn't tell, I got Keyblades in the background. But one of my biggest issues is that they just refuse to let characters stay dead. Or they bring them back and kill them again. And like, I get it, sometimes it works. But, like, if you're going to bring him back in the first, just don't kill off the character. Have them get knocked out or sent away or escape or don't off the character and then just bring them back because time travel, powers of the universe. Like, don't do that. Because every single time you off him again, it'll never have the same impact as the first time. And that's how I would feel about a Kenny return. Because obviously Kenny would have to go again, right? Like, we aren't going to keep Kenny, the mad scientist, around unless he's literally powerless and has no ability to influence anything. Or maybe he ends up like, I don't know, Terra from Teen Titans, the original series, where she lost all her memories, quote unquote, and ends up living out a regular life with no powers and stuff like that. Like, unless that ends up being Kenny's fate, living happily alongside Takaba forever, I kind of don't want him. I mean, of course, would it be cool? That's again, I'm thinking of a part 2 or like another arc after this, even though I don't really want it. But would I be cool with Kenny sort of being used as like an Aizen figure, where ultimately the whole crew is like, I don't really want to rely on bro, but his brain is so fat, he has too much information, and they pull up on him at a comedy show, and they ask him afterwards, Kenjaku, what did you do? And Kenjaku sits there and says, I put on a great show, didn't I? Like, maybe, but even then, I still don't think it's worth it. I don't think I'd want it. But, yeah, I'm still in the camp, not Kenny. If it is Kenny, I mean, I'm happy for all my fellow Jaku Jackers out there. I'm a Jaku Jacker too, but I kind of just don't want him back. It just doesn't, I feel like it wouldn't hit the same, you know? It just wouldn't hit the same. But ultimately, as Takaba tells him to memorize his lines, we cut to Amai and the dude Amai was bullying with a whole group of people before. Now, this is a nice scene for Amai, specifically, but once again, a character, and it's really the issue, right? Because obviously, not every single character is going to have the time, the place, the ability to be built perfectly. Like, it's just not possible. And thusly, Amai's little miniature super uber juber background arc based on his inspiration of Yuji and risking his life and being there for everybody and helping save Hana, like, it's enough that I appreciate that he grew enough to go back, specifically find the person he was affecting before and go and apologize, being like, hey, I'm genuinely sorry. And notably, one thing I do like, at least, unless I'm misremembering the translations, or these are translations wrong, let me double check. What is it? What do you need? Can I ask you something? I'm really sorry about back then. Ultimately, Amai doesn't ask for forgiveness. He's just like, even though he says I'm gonna ask you something. But my main thing, he just tells him, dude, I'm sorry. And hey, once again, I was lucky enough to be gargantuan enough that no one in their right mind tried to bully me. And honestly, I never really got the idea of like bullying or anything like that because it just never happened to me. And I'm very much an out of sight, out of mind kind of person. It's why I can barely remember anything. My memory is garbage. But with it being the case, I do like that ultimately he feels the guilt. Because that's what you feel later in life. Especially if you ever felt like you wronged somebody, you'll definitely have those moments where you just think back to that. I feel like everyone's done it at least once, had someone that they've wronged, and you think about it all the time. And the best way to deal with that, or at least give yourself and even them some closure, is to go tell them and apologize. And I'm glad Amai got to do that. Is he the most important character? No. Should we dedicate 2 whole pages to him? No. But still, we gotta do what we gotta do. And I like how the kid doesn't respond. But ultimately, we also do get a cameo from Yuji's old friends. They don't get to say anything, which is interesting, but they are here, which is nice, as Amai says he can't get that together. The other thing, we're still addressing Higuruma. Ultimately, he's kind of gotten off scot-free. Looks like it's all gonna end up being dropped, huh? It's probably pressure from the headquarters. It seems they want to work me to the bone as a sorcerer. 312. 312? I don't know what that means. I apologize for what happened, but it's time to start over. As a representative of the bereaved family, I'll show you just how to lock up Higuruma-san. Please, just this once. So, ultimately, Higuruma, he is mostly free. He's going to continue being a sorcerer. He's going to continue working for Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen has allowed him to essentially scapegoat around all the charges, and rather than pay with his life or life in prison, they're like, you got crazy potential, we're going to use you, you're a military asset, come get militarized, boy. I'll take that. And I also do like, I forget who this woman is. I don't know, maybe she's from his flashback, I just really don't remember. But I am happy that Higuruma, even if he's not really being allowed to just face up and own up to his crimes in the most traditional way, such as going to jail or getting a life sentence, he is at least having to deal with something from someone who knows him, can account for him, and all that. If this isn't a sorceress, though, I don't know why he would tell her about sorcery, but still, regardless, hey, I'm happy Higuruma's around. I've come full circle. Where before last chapter, I was like, oh, why is Higuruma alive? No. Now I'm like, yeah, he's fine. It's fine. I'm happy he's alive. I'm happy he's being forced to take the hard path, because ultimately, just turning yourself in and not attempting to make up for or right the wrongs you committed, yeah, that's technically, in a roundabout way, the easy way out. So I'm glad that Higuruma ultimately decided to lock in, work out or work off his debt bit by bit, piece by piece, if he never feels like he'll fully wear off that debt, and ultimately still be prosecuted, though admittedly seemingly not in a traditional court of law or something of the sort. Once again, we'll see when better translations come out. However, of course, we do gotta wrap up something. And that would very specifically be Angel and Hana. Notably, this is Angel essentially egging Hana on, being like, yo, you literally went out there against the king of curses. If you do not open your mouth and get to confess, and honestly, we all need a friend like Angel, dog. We all need a friend like Angel. It's like, dude, if you don't stop wasting my time. But ultimately, Hana's struggling. She can't find the words as she walks up to Megumi. And once again, Hana's just another character where I'm like, could she? Ooh, this hurts. But we gotta do it. Ooh, good stretch. Oh, my back. Oh, sorry. But ultimately, Hana's another one of the characters who I'm like, that's the thing. You could give her more time, but I'll say she fulfills her plot purpose. Her purpose was to unseal Santo Gojo. She did that just fine. And any further exposure to the character, it would kind of start to feel weird. Once again, it would the only time you could really do it is either fleshing out this current time skip from whenever it was till now in January. Wait, whoa. See, this is what happens when you don't record with time, because then your brain immediately starts leaping in confusing months. But what was I even talking about? Where did my brain go? But ultimately, Megumi Fushiguro is now Hana Kurusu maybe could have benefited from more time in this time skip period, which may be still in December, maybe in a few hours, maybe a few days, maybe in a few months, hasn't been a few years. But whenever it is in universe, I do fully believe that Hana... Where is my brain go? Brain blast. Jimmy Neutron type beat. Body, please wake up. What are we talking about? I think the only time you could have developed Angel further is in this 1 month weird time skip where Megumi was knocked out, which of course we weren't going to do because we hard skipped that in the middle of 268 and or during the military plot line, the faux military plot line that we thought was going to do more. Those are the only times you could have expanded on Hana's character much more, but unfortunately those times didn't come to pass, so Megumi ended up getting possessed, and naturally the bond between these two characters is basically non-existent. There! Golly! Can't record when tired. Brain just starts. I wish I could say it starts glitching, it just starts turning off. But with it being the case, I do like how Megumi does feel an aspect of guilt. Now, obviously, it's not his fault that he got nibbled on by the big bad king man, but still, I'm glad he does have some sort of turmoil, some sort of emotion, because this is the same thing Yuji had when he was possessed by Sukuna. Of course, he wasn't in full control of his body, it wasn't his fault, but at the same time, neither did Megumi, but Megumi still feels the guilt, specifically in regards to Hana, because, you know, he went, tasty, and hocked the loogie at it. But with it being the case, Megumi admits he's going to take responsibility. He's ultimately going to, and I'll admit, this is like the most, from now on, I'll be your right-hand man, Kurusu. Now, while it is nice that he says this, his face does not match his words at all. Once again, I'll see him in the better translations. But also, really? Her right-hand man? Her right hand, because her right hand, oh, you're not funny, Megumi. You're not slick. I know I see you fighting that smile, broski. You're not slick, buddy. Her right-hand man. Why can't you be her left-hand man, huh? Oh, but pencil, the phrase goes right hand, and it goes left and right wings of the Pirate King. Why couldn't you be her left wing? Huh, Mr. Fushiguro, huh? Oh, I know exactly why. You nibbled that one. But ultimately, I do like that. Make me taking responsibility. I do find Angel's misinterpretation of this interesting. Once again, we just don't know. Like, anything about the character or history. We know she, as a child, Megumi saved her, but those intervening years, we have no idea. We don't know when Angel incarnated in them or anything. Like, it's so strange. So I don't know why she would assume that this would suddenly be a marriage proposal. That seemingly is what her brain immediately leaps to. Once again, reminding me of Elphelt Valentine from Guilty Gear. If you know, you know, but not fully. If you know, you know, not fully, but like, you see it, right? It isn't just you see it. But with it being the case, we see. Now this is another thing I'm confused on. I'm not sure if this is still them. It's the same page, so it probably should still be them. But in that sense, my mission is, I'll handle it later. Let's chat, shall we? I jumped the Splagooter and got all tongue-tied. So I'm assuming this is still this page. It's a neat little interaction. Once again, just not enough time with either of these two characters to really make me feel anything about this. And obviously, I don't think it's actually gonna happen. Like, they're not gonna get married, no, come on now. But with it being the case, we cut to this random couple as the woman comes home from work, and she's talking, she's enjoying herself, she's yapping, and they talk about dining out again. Once again, while we do acknowledge Tengen and their existence, the calling games haven't been acknowledged. In fact, if anything, it kind of confirms at the end of the chapter that they're still going on. Which makes you wonder why people are still just living regular life. Like, y'all, isn't the world still dangerous? But speaking of the world being dangerous, as she walks up to her husband or her man asking, hey, what are we going to nibble on? Or fiance. Once again, I'm just going to cover it because I do not like looking at stuff like that. I'll be completely honest. I'm bad. I'm a big old baby. Like, I don't like, fun fact about the pencil man, I don't like horror movies. I don't like anything horror adjacent. I'm bad with even like thriller. I'm just not. It's not it for me. Not it for me at all. So, like, even this slight, and I say slight, obviously his eyes are as big as his face, but it does bother me to look at. So, like, I'm currently blocking my eyesight with my wonderful, beautiful water jug, which y'all, is it really that big? I guess it's as big as my head, and I do have a big head. But, like, that's kind of big. It's kind of, it's question, is this thing oversized? Is it too much water? I don't think it is. Let's see, once I fill it up with ice, I feel like it's barely enough water. It's bigger than it looks. It's real big, but it's not as big as you think it is. But ultimately, the guy has this weird mutated face where his eyes are super, super stretched out. And I'll admit, the thing that makes it really off-putting, I think if the eyes are just super duper large, it wouldn't bother me as much. It's like he has a second nose. Like those holes in his face. It just bothers me. But ultimately, the victim is Soto Fukuzawa, a 26-year-old man since about 2 weeks ago. My fiance and I've been living with, says I look different now. Now, I don't get this system fully. I don't know how they reported this to the Jujutsu world. I forget about that. I completely forget how the system works since it's been so long since the system's been in place. It really hasn't been in place since like early JJK, so I completely forgot about it. But ultimately, comes in and our main trio sees him, and he looks fine. He looks completely normal. No elongated face or big ol' eyes or anything like that. If anything, they're impressed by his sheer girth. He's been hitting the gym, and we see that the man wrestled all the way through high school, and he's been living the good life, but ultimately, there's no mutation there. If anything, the woman is just seeing things. And notably, our cast and crew doesn't seem to notice anything off either. In fact, when they look at the comparison drawing for what she drew, you know, the big old massive eyes, which once again, this doesn't bother me because it's more cartoonified. Something about just seeing it. It's the holes. It's the hole. I feel like if I were to white out the holes, it wouldn't bother me as much. It'd just be... But still, what she sees it as and what she thinks is quite the spectacle. Huh? What about me? That's a totally fierce look, Kugisaki. Alrighty, sis. Mind if we give you a little body check? So, the thing that I'm not sure is, and once again, maybe the translation will better imply this, I'm not sure if she still sees him as that, or if she just saw it temporarily. But considering that the rough translation says what she sees it as and what she thinks is quite the spectacle. So he looks normal to us, but to her, he looks mutated. Now, the question is this just a curse specifically attached to her, and she can't see it? But I feel like our cast and crew would mention that. Or is this that evolution that ultimately Tengen was looking for? That step beyond cursed energy, where even really powerful and experienced sorcerers like our little cast and crew here can't notice anything off. But she can see something. Because ultimately the evolution, even though the merger hadn't started due to the slowly but surely degradation of Tengen's barriers without their maintenance, it's starting to properly infuse cursed energy into the populace and evolve it at a rapid rate. I don't know. But it's an interesting plot point. And notably, while Nobara takes the woman off for a body check, the kids, or the guys, reveal, feels like I just thought it would be a tad bit off. The chances of that being real are pretty slim. Is that really how it is? Yeah. Maybe it's a curse, but it doesn't feel like there's any intent to slaughter. More like a survivor of a deadly game. Perhaps one that has awakened. There are first-class curses where the practitioners might hold back intentionally, but the aftermath can spiral out of control, so I can't entirely dismiss the possibility of that. Oh, so it's basically just trouble caused by cursed sorcerers, huh? 3 of us should have no problem with this. So, the curses, curse users. The next issue will have a spectacular center color page, and it should be the last chapter of JJK. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I still don't really want a part 2, but I'll make a video talking about why I don't want it, but what could be in it if it do happen. Maybe we're going to see Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara actually jump somebody for the first time in the entire series, which is crazy to think that they've never done all 3-way jump, but that'll be interesting. Overall, I would say it's a W chapter. In terms of wrap-up, in terms of covering things, in terms of showing us all the different characters and where they are currently in their life post the Shinjuku Showdown, but not post-culling games or anything like that, I think it's neat. I'm happy for Maki, I'm happy for Higuruma, I'm happy for basically everyone in this chapter. There's no panda in this chapter, so I can be happy for everyone in this chapter, because that panda thing is absolutely filthy, disgusting, and horrid. But with that being the case, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave Daffy Duck. I don't know what. It's the eyes. It's the eyes. Because Daffy sometimes draws real big eyes, but it doesn't bother me because it's a cartoon duck. Leave it Daffy Duck in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as little as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. So now become a member of the channel for as little as $3 a month to get the same perk and more. So those perks will include the live reaction to this very chapter, ad variations of all my videos, and become a $25 patron or a $25 member. You can order whatever video you want. Also, I have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below. You can drop 5 beans for a short video, 20 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That with a Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: Sierra, Greyhound, Eternal Flame, NMA, Real Rare, Red Wolf 4765, Paris Arnold, Astro, Brandon Payne, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Josh Brown, Igneal Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $7 members: Autumn Mornings Lazo, Fine, Zombie Hunter, and Austin Wimberly. Then I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members: Robbie Uchiha, Jay Warrior, and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give a big ol' thank you to our $10 patrons: Overlord Zero, Joaquin Munoz, and Idem Okami.
And I'd like to give the craziest, juiciest, most next-level, quadruple, sloppy, toppy, next-level, superhuman, in beyond this world, kidney heaven thank you to our $100 patron, or that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.